let's talk about how hard it was for me. It was so hard.
Right. Tell me. It was so hard
I
for
was
me.
the only one having a bad time in 2020. Follow me on my journey. Yeah.
This
But
is my
during
ministry.
COVID, it was just so, it was so isolating, but also I wrote all the way through COVID, even when I didn't want to, because people would message me and they would say, hey, just keep writing because I'm having a really tough time. This is really tough. And whenever I come over here, there's something funny and it makes me feel better. And our days are very long right now, blah, blah, blah. So I kind of took it upon myself to just keep writing. Even when I didn't feel like it, I would just keep writing and turning it out. And even if they weren't good jokes, I would just keep writing and writing because I knew people were just sitting there, and I would get so many messages about, hey, it's just nice to have something to laugh about. Everything's so bad right now. And be like, yes, everything is awful.
Everything is on fire. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Say More Words. I am your hostess with the mostest, Tamika Taylor, and I am so excited for today because I am bringing you one of my favorite people who distracts me from all of the nonsense that happens in this world. Her name is Paige Kellerman, and you can find her at that on Instagram, and we'll link all of her socials into the show notes. And if you're watching any of the things on YouTube or on Instagram, she will be tagged. But she was one of the people who made me like, you all know that my love language is memes. Like, you send me a meme that you know I'm going to laugh to, love language. And she is like one of my favorite love languages. So I'm super excited that she's here. We get to talk to her today. Paige, if you will tell us, what is the song of the day?
Okay, so the song of the day is one of my favorite songs. And I had it in my mind. Okay, so what? It's a song by the New Radicals. You have the music in you? What?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm a child of the 90s. So, like, that is
Yep.
one of my favorite songs. And being one of my favorite songs, I should, like, have the name of it on the top of my head. But I use Google and Apple Music to tell me the name of everything. So I can't.
Same.
I can't remember, but that would be mine that I would add because that's
Yes.
one of my favorites that I also don't intentionally ruin for myself because I like to play songs until I like literally just hate them because I'm going to love it to death. And I intentionally do not seek that song out on like my Apple Music, and I don't play it. I wait to hear it randomly on the radio so that I don't hate it. And so I only hear it when when nature gives it to me, and they're like, here, you know, and I have grown to not hate it because of that. But it's one of my favorite songs, so you can put it on the playlist. That's fine.
I love that. I need to start doing that. Be like, you know what, universe, let me hear my song when I need to hear it, because I was all about, you know, I know not everybody was about the Beyonce Texas song, her first country song. I know not everybody was, but I live in Texas, and the minute she says this ain't Texas, I'm in. But now a week later, I hate it. I'd rather die.
It's so hard too, and I like more power to her because I love when artists kind of do new things because I'm all about like, well, if you want to do it, then try it. You know, try it out. It's whatever. I'm still on the fence too, but you know, and she does so much great work that I'm like, okay, I'm on the fence. Am I in with this Beyonce? I don't know if I am yet, so it's growing on me. But I say, you do you. It's cool. But yeah, no, I have to intentionally not ruin songs for myself because I will play if I find a song that I like, I'll play it like 300 times, and then I'm like, nope, can't do it anymore.
Nope, hate this.
Me. It's such a cruel thing to do. It's a cruel thing to do to the artist, but it's fine. It's fine.
I love it. This is our journey.
It is our journey.
It's our journey. So, Paige, will you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. Everybody wants to know.
Everyone wants to know.
Well, I have been on the internet for a really long time. Probably, well, to me, it's a really long time. I've been on here just making content since about 2010, I would say. Okay. I started staying home with my kids. Back in 2010, I got pregnant with twins. And so I decided to become a stay-at-home mom because we looked at the cost of daycare and we were like, oh, okay.
That's cute.
Well, that's a nice number. And so I decided to stay home. And then while I was home, I kind of discovered blogging because I was kind of isolated. Not very many people stayed home. And I didn't really, you know, I needed a kind of an outlet, a creative outlet. Mm-hmm. And I'm a I'm more or less a creative person and I need something in my day. And so I discovered blogging and I was like, oh, so you can write for free on the internet. No, people have to, people have to listen to me. I can do it for free. And so I started my first blog and which was terrible. It was just real bad. And it was just me kind of finding my voice, writing every day. And then over the next couple of years, I kind of built an audience and I realized I really liked writing humor. I liked writing funny things or what I thought was funny. And
Mm-hmm.
it was a way for me to build kind of a community of people that I could talk to and relate to and like to laugh with me because it was never anything like very serious, just kind of my daily struggles and whatnot. And so I just started doing that, and that led into me kind of self-publishing a couple books that weren't very good, but
But
one
I
of them,
did it.
one of them's still out there in the wild if anybody wants it. But yeah, so blogging led to writing books, which eventually kind of led to. I feel like I'm saying a lot, but it led to more
Good.
of my short form joke writing, and then I realized that I liked the short form. I found Twitter, and Twitter is the spirit of Twitter. Well, I guess it's X now, but whatever. I refuse. I'm calling it
Right.
Twitter.
Right. Twitter.
It forced me to have to say what I needed to say in 140 characters. Back in the day when we were limited, we're not limited anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But it forced me to be very brief, and because of that, I was able to start refining like what does the joke format look like? What does that sound like? And slowly, I think Huffington Post started to pick up my jokes every week. And from there, I started just writing jokes and I loved it. And I thought it was so fun. And then it just kind of turned into a thing. And then I just kept doing it because I really loved it. So
Let's see. All right, we're back. I can hear you.
are we good?
I think. Yeah, we're good. Sorry.
No, I haven't done one podcast before where it's just like we've had to tweak something or something's going on. It's not.
Every time.
Yeah, it's an imperfect science. It's okay.
It,
I'm just
oh
I'm just
God.
happy to be here. It's okay.
Right? I just happen to be in the
My
room.
my kid, I have 4 kids and they're all gone. And when it's this quiet, I'm like, we could sit and talk about like paint colors. I don't care.
Anything you want to talk about. How old are the kids? The twins are how old now? Oh, if that was 2010,
they're almost
14?
14. So they'll be
Okay.
14 in May. They're getting ready to go into high school, which is like crazy. It makes me feel so old. And then I have an 11-year-old and then my littlest is 8. So
Okay.
all happily in school right now. Yay. I love them, but I need some quiet sometimes.
Amen. So you perfected your short form is absolutely insanely funny. And so like you started in 2010. When did you switch over? Because I found you on Instagram, and I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of like where like there's a big explosion for you. You can correct me if
Yeah.
I'm wrong, but
Yeah.
like once you got started getting featured on I Am 30 AF, I was like, here we go.
The good people over there. Yeah, and
Yeah.
they're so sweet. They're so nice
Are
to
they?
me. They took pity on me one day and like shared my stuff, and then I
Yeah.
kind of started growing because that really is their audience is more or less my target audience because it's more kind of elder. I guess I'm an elder millennial. I'll be
Yeah.
40 this summer. And so I'm not even gonna be in my 30s anymore. I'm like, wait, do I still get to
Take
be in the club? I don't know.
don't kick me out.
I know. I'm like, oh, do they like not? Are they not going to let me be it? No, but I've talked to them a bunch, and they're really really nice over there, and they have done a lot for just getting my stuff out because they have such a big audience, and I have to credit them with kind of helping me expand because you know how Instagram is. It's just so hard. It's such a hard medium to grow on now to even get people to see what you're doing.
Yeah.
And sometimes
You're
you
like
just feel
fighting.
like you're shouting in the void. So when they pick up my stuff, I'm like, oh, maybe people do like it, and I'll keep doing it, I guess.
Right?
So
I'm gonna keep going. My favorite one, the one that I saw that like literally, it still to this day makes me cry laughing because it's so freaking funny and it's so true. Is the mirror looking good today? Grocery store window. You could probably use some sleep. Target checkout camera. 'Twas the winter when she contracted cholera, quickly succumbed and was buried in a shower.
that's the feeling. I had that rolling around in my brain for so long because I'm not okay. I'm kind of a camera shy person.
Uh-huh.
I will do this for you. I will do this for
Yeah.
people. But I am not, if you haven't noticed, like, I don't do a lot of pictures of myself. I don't do a lot of video or anything like that. It's just not my medium. I don't love it. And so anytime I catch myself in a checkout camera, I'm so mentally unprepared for it. It just, I hurt my own feelings because I'll look in the camera and I'll be like, am I really walking around in the world like that? Like, is this what I'm giving to the world right now? Every day.
Is this who I am?
Is this it? Is this it? And it's so hard to, I just was trying to encapsulate that feeling of like, you look at Instagram, you look at social media, and of course we always, whatever we put out in the world is such a polished image. And I'll look at social media and like, everybody's perfectly photogenic and perfectly filtered and perfectly everything, to the point where I'm like, I can't.
I can't do this. I can't live here anymore.
Yeah. So I'm comparing, like, people's filtered Instagram to my checkout camera in my brain all the time. And that is the feeling. Like, I'm just constantly hurting my own feelings. But there's something about Target checkout cameras.
Yes.
They're the worst. Like, my mirror, at least, like, okay, when I look at my mirror, I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I was like, why are our mirrors just like so much kinder to us in the morning? I'm like, okay, I can get out. I can face the world. Thank God for the mirror. Yep. Because if I had to look in a Target checkout camera before I left my house every day, I'd be like, okay, that's it. We're staying home. I've become a recluse, and I'm not going back out again. This is the worst.
This is who I am. I just recently said that to a friend because I was like, one of my best friends, I like slapped her and I was like, why didn't you tell me I look like this? Like, tell me to put the fork down and enter the gym. And she goes, what do you mean? And I go, this is the picture I took this morning. And this is a side picture somebody else took in the crowd. And these are not the same people.
These are not the same people. I said that to, when I was talking to my friend, I was like, because she was like, why is it so cruel? Like, I was looking so cute in the mirror, and then my husband was taking pictures of me, and I looked bald, I looked all this stuff, and she's like, what happens? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I really have because I'll get like pictures from the side. I'm like, is that what I look like from the side? And then I'll get pictures from the front. And I think with all these cameras, and our front facing camera is like a demon, and that's horrible. And I told her, I was like, after looking at so many pictures of myself, I have no idea what I look like.
Which one's real?
Yeah. And I have no idea which is the real one. And so after a while, I have to just be like, well, world, I guess this is what you get.
This is who I am.
Yeah. So if everybody thinks I walk outside every day like, I look so good. No, I'm just like, you're sharing in my struggle. Like when I go outside, like we are struggling together.
Yep. We are all in this together.
Yeah. And that one really resonated with a lot of people, because I think deep down we all feel like that, except for like the few and far between like super photogenic people that are like, nope, I look good all the time. Like if you're Rob Lowe, you're like, you're not afraid.
Oh my God.
Outside. You feel
good.
Good.
You're just out there in the world. I think that was one of my other favorite ones that you wrote, that was like the biggest hoax of our generation, is the Atkins diet, telling us if we eat a chocolate covered granola bar, we're going to look like Rob Lowe.
Yeah. I take special offense at that. Like, nothing on Rob Lowe. I think he's wonderful. He's a great, obviously great guy.
Beautiful human.
But it's like, okay, Adkins, can we just like back this up a little bit? Just a little bit. Like, could you just get somebody that's like, is like a 7, like, or maybe like a 6.5, and be like, right. You could be this too. You could look like this too. And it's like, there's no amount of Adkins bars that I'm going to eat that I'm going to wake up and it's going to be like, okay, it worked. I look like Rob Lowe.
Here I am. Out here in these streets.
I know. You got me out here maybe a couple pounds lighter. Still, this is so much to get.
Just still here.
It's good advertising though, because it keeps us optimistic.
Amen. So let me ask you that, because like one of my favorite things, and one of my philosophies is all like around joy. And one of the easiest ways for us to get lost, I think, is to remove joy and happiness. And so with your page, like with your humor, like how have you been able to take, these common things that we work through and turn them into really, really funny things all of the time? Like, does it always just pop up, or are you walking through life being like, I'm going to make this into a joke, or is it just
I mean, I think it's a little bit of both.
okay?
I think when I first started writing, my small mission statement in my mind, especially as I kind of look around at the world, and this is just kind of my personality, I just feel like the world in general has enough like doom and gloom and people not getting along with each other, and like everywhere you turn, if you want to find a fight, you can find it. If you want to find somebody who's miserable, you can find it. I'm on the internet all the time. I know it's there. And
Yeah.
so I thought, well, I can contribute to that, or I can do my best to not contribute to that and go the other direction. So I've always kind of intentionally made any of my social media a page where everybody is, welcome here. And I always think that we as human beings have more in common than we don't have in common. And I think
Amen.
we
Ooh.
forget about that. I think we forget. I think we're so fixated a lot of the time, especially on the internet, of how different everybody is, and putting everybody in a box. I think we have much more in common than we don't. I think when we're all done fighting with each other on the internet, we all go home and we're still trying to remember to take our trash out. We're still trying to remember to pay our bills. We're still getting up and raising our kids, and we're all doing these same things every day. And so it's like the mundane. And so to me, that is what I find funny, is that we're all kind of thinking, oh, I'm so different than the person next to me. No, you're not. We're all doing these stupid things every day. We're all doing these silly little things. We're sweeping our floors and washing our dishes, and that is what takes up most of our time. And so
Amen.
really what I try to do is just find the humor in all the mundane things. And that is what we have in common. And I think that's why, people kind of resonate with the silly things that I write. It's kind of like me too. It's like, yeah, we're all why are we
We're all
torturing
a mess.
ourselves with little things? We're all a mess. I have never met one person in my whole life that's perfect. I mean, I've met
Mm.
people who thought they're perfect. I'm sure at certain times in my life I thought I was perfect when I was
Right.
maybe in my 20s. I had it all figured out. The older I
Right.
get, I realize I know nothing about anything at all. Um,
Literally.
yeah, literally nothing. I mean, I'm looking at my life like I don't have any of this figured out. I thought by now, like, when you were 40, you had your life figured out, and it is like the
Yeah, because
complete
you're near
opposite.
death.
Oh yeah,
You're
you
near
were
death at
dying.
40.
Oh, I can remember growing up, and my neighbors had an over the hill party for their
Yeah.
dad, and he was 40, and I thought, that poor man, he's dying.
It's dying. It's
It's
coming
over.
so soon.
It's
And now,
over for him. Oh,
and
that's so
that's,
sad for him. And they had like the black balloons and the whole thing. It was all so
yeah.
sad. And I thought, oh, when you're 40, your life is over.
Hmm.
And now I'm like, I don't feel that old. I don't, and it's really not that old.
I
So
don't feel that old, but also like I don't have it together. And that it
yeah.
makes me wonder, like, no wonder our parents like messed us all up so bad because they were just babies trying to raise babies. There's none of us know what we're doing.
No, you're just kind of winging it, and I like to throw that pity party for myself that I'm the only one that doesn't have it figured out. And I'll look around at other adults and I'm like, well, they have it together, but then you just forget that like no one has it all together. We're all deep down like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Am I messing my kids up? Am I, it's
Yeah.
it's a lot, and I think everybody has that internal struggle. So yeah, I mean, when I am going back to your original question, sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't
No, you're good.
meander, but sometimes jokes will just pop into my head. I'll be looking at something and it'll just write itself, and I'll be like, okay, and I'll have to go write it down, because cardinal rule is you always write it down. You won't remember it later. Um,
Hmm.
and then other times I'll get like the kernel of a joke, like what we were talking about earlier with the camera. I had that kernel of a joke rolling around in my mind for probably 6 months, but it was always at the back of my mind. Every time I would go in Target, I'd be like, I hate that camera. Hate it so much. Like, why does it make me look so ugly? Like, why? This is how it has a personal vendetta against me. And then one day I was sitting in the Target parking lot before I went in, and I really started to like think it out, think it out, think it out, think it out. And I was like, well, what does that look like? What does the format look like? What does it look like on paper? And then I just slowly drilled it down. And then I was like, okay, I know what I want to say. This is what I want to say. And that one, by far is one of my most successful jokes. I think that's been shared a lot. I don't think it's the
Yeah.
most successful, but it does resonate with
It's up there.
So I'm like, y'all, I feel your pain.
Right.
I get it.
I think that's what I love the most about your jokes. It is everything that people are thinking. One of my favorite things to tell people all the time, I'm like, because this is happening to you, even if it's a bad thing, I'm like, you're not special. You're not the only person this has ever happened to. And like, we can all relate, especially as like an elder millennial. Like, I read these things, I'm like, man, that hurts, but it's so true.
Painful
And
but
I,
true, yeah.
it's right. And I think what's really cool about what you're doing is that you're right. Like negativity breeds negativity, and people need joy and they need happiness. But in a world where everyone's comparing, you're just calling everybody out on their shit, and I love that. And it really resonates with because it's March when we're recording this, and so my time hop is showing me all of the memes I shared during COVID because everyone was like, "The world is ending," and I'm like, "Here's this really funny meme about how we can't stop drinking."
I know it was, and that was a tough time. I mean, that was
Mhm.
really tough mentally on me and everybody. Well, let's talk about how hard it was for me. It was so hard.
Right. Tell me. It was so hard
I
for
was
me.
the only one having a bad time in 2020. Follow me on my journey.
Right.
Yeah,
This
but
is my ministry.
during COVID, it was just so. I mean, it was so isolating. But also, I wrote all the way through COVID, even when I didn't want to, because people would message me and they would say, "Hey, just keep writing because I'm having a really tough time. This is really tough, and whenever I come over here, there's something funny and it makes me feel better. And our days are very long right now, blah, blah, blah." So I kind of took it upon myself to just keep writing. Even when I didn't feel like it, I would just keep
Hmm.
writing and turning it out. And even if they weren't good jokes, I would just keep writing and writing because I knew people were just sitting there. And I would get so many messages about, "Hey, it's just nice to have something to laugh about. Everything's so bad right now." And be like, "Yes, everything is awful."
Everything is on
Yes,
fire.
everything's on fire. This is so bad. And then I would just kind of make it my mission to try to find something funny in what we were going through. And so I would just take every day, well, what's the worst thing about today? What's happening? Let's try to make something funny about it. And so it was a challenging time. The most frustrating thing about writing those memes during COVID is it's not evergreen material. I can't use it
Yeah.
again. Like, you can find it on my timeline, but it doesn't apply. It will never apply to anything ever again. So you can look through like my archives. I don't even like going back in there because I'm like,
Oh,
I
I
don't want
know.
to remember it.
I don't want to know.
I don't want to know. I was just trying to help people out, even though there were some gems in there. I wish I could reshare,
Yeah.
but I can't because I will reshare from time to time things
Yeah.
that do well or whatever, just as fillers until I can think of something else stupid to say. But
So you can go on your next journey.
yeah, until you follow me on my next journey, because everyone wants to know. My kids are always like, "Mom, do people? I mean, do they really even care?" my kids, my kids keep me so. They say children are a blessing, and I think it's because they just keep you so down. I hate saying down because
Humble.
it sounds so dumb, but they do keep you humble because they'll be like, "Mom, I mean," I'll be like, "Yeah, I had something that did okay," and they're like, "I don't get it. Like, this isn't even funny," and I'm just like, "Okay, like, keep your well." You'll get it later, and they're like, "Okay, that's not mom." So if anybody thinks like
Someday.
my kids are just like, "You're so funny," they don't think I'm funny.
They don't
They
think
don't think
I'm
I'm funny at
funny.
all.
Not yet.
No, not at
Not
all.
yet.
Yeah, it's constant humility being dished out around here from 4 different people. So that's what it is.
Tiny ones that you created yourself.
I
I
know.
mean,
You
we
guys are
can all
supposed to
relate
be
to
my support system. That's what it is. But
no, no, they're just really good content.
they're adorable. And I did originally, my content was structured around them. And in my early days, kind of before you found me, I would say they classified me more as like a parenting blogger.
Yeah.
Humor is kind of how I got started. And then I very quickly realized that I couldn't keep doing that because kids grow. And
Mm,
I did not want to paint myself into a corner where my humor was structured completely around my children and I was always waiting for them to do something funny and that's all
yeah.
I could do. And so very like within the first few years I realized like I don't want to just do jokes about parenting. I want to do jokes about everything about my whole life and everything I'm doing. And so slowly I kind of moved out of that sphere. And I'm glad I did now because they're old enough now where they really, they don't want me like making jokes about them. Middle schoolers, let's just put it this way, too.
Oh no.
I don't know
Mm-mm.
how old your kids are,
They're
but
tiny, but I'm the oldest, and my sisters were 10 years younger than me, so I lived the middle. No, middle schoolers are the worst.
it's a challenging, it's a challenging age. I'm also the oldest. I'm the oldest of 10. So I've got a lot of brothers and sisters. Yeah, a lot of
Holy
brothers and
cow.
sisters. And they're so great now. Like we're all really good friends now because we all seem like the same age. But growing up, I was like, I don't have anything in common with you guys. I have 6 sisters, and
Oh,
we all get along great now. But yeah, it's yeah, they're when they're little, it's awesome. And middle school has been awesome too. They're just they're very much their own people now, and there is no like joking about anything we're doing because life is very serious. The second,
very serious.
yeah, it's the next phase of parenting that I really don't know anything about. So I'm kind of just like treading lightly. And my husband at the very beginning of this whole of my journey, he said, if you're going to be on the internet all the time, if you write about the kids, that's great, but are you okay with not putting their picture on there and not using their names? Like, let's kind of give them a modicum of privacy so that when they get older, they still have that, and then they can decide whether they want to be on the internet, whether they want to put their face out there, blah blah blah. So I never have really talked about, or use their names or put their faces out there. That not because I don't love them. People are like, she
Right.
says she has kids, but we never see them. It was more just out of respect for them, and now they're glad for that. But you know, although I have one kid that's like, you should put me on there all the time, and I'm like, oh, you, I know you,
You, I
different,
can see you.
yeah, his different personality type, but
Oh, that's so
anyway,
fun.
yeah,
So,
yeah, very
what
fun.
is your next journey? Are we writing short? Like, I feel like as a writer, like you go through different phases. By the way, I really love the like elder millennial phase of like the boy is mine and like,
Oh
and,
yeah, it's so deeply ingrained in me. Like I still feel some days I'll wake up and you can feel like 2002 just inside
oh,
me. Like
yep.
I'm just, I'm still stuck in that era. I'm starting to be those older people that when you're a kid, they're like, why are they so fixated on like a certain time period? Why are they still dressing the way they're dressing? And it's like that was like my high school college era because I graduated from college in 2006. So up to that
Hmm.
point was high school, college. So that early
Oh,
millennium, all the music, all of that, because we were all just, I feel like at that point in time, we were all listening to the same things. We were all watching the same things. We're all doing the same things. And so I think our age group, that just, the Brandy Monica
mm.
feud, like all that stuff, we were all so heavily involved in all of it that you
We were
can't,
so emotionally invested.
oh, so emotionally invested. There, I mean, everything when Destiny's Child broke up, like all of that
Oh,
stuff. Like these were things we sat around and talked seriously about. Were you NSYNC or were you Backstreet Boys? Like you picked a side. We were all talking about these things. I feel like we were all, our age group was just so interconnected with pop culture,
hmm.
that I love that. I've always loved pop culture. And so the saddest thing for me is as I get older, not recognizing celebrities. Like
I know.
watching, yeah. If I'm watching an award show and, an 18-year-old gets up and they're like, it's blah, blah, blah. And you're like, I do not know her.
Who?
who, who is this child that everybody's like, oh, she's in, and you're like, oh, I don't know. And then you really feel that, like, okay, maybe I'm not as connected as I thought I was, but sure.
Mine was realizing that those 18-year-olds didn't exist when we were in college.
Exactly. Yes.
And
That
so
is
it's like,
hard.
oh,
Oh. And they're like, look,
oh,
she's so successful at 25. She made 5.5 million this last year, and you're like, what am I doing with my life?
who
Like,
am I?
what? And you're already watching this younger age group just pass by you. You know, it's in some like sick, like tortoise in the hare situation where you're like slow and steady wins the race, and they're already like making $10 million on YouTube, and you're just like, okay, I feel like I took a wrong turn.
Somewhere. I missed the exit somewhere.
I missed the off ramp. Someone tell me, you know. And so for me personally,
Yeah.
you know, I would say in my 20s, I was so focused on like where I was going and what I was doing. And these were my goals. And I found like as I get older, I'm kind of like, okay, well, what are we doing today? What is happening? I don't know. I think when I first started writing, I had a very set journey for myself. I was gonna blog, and it was gonna be the greatest blog in the whole world, and it was a mediocre blog. And then I wrote books, and they were gonna be the greatest books ever. And they were not. They did okay, but I was like, okay, well, you know, that was okay. And then just writing jokes for me has been, even, you know, if people think I'm like monetarily successful from joke writing, that's not that's not the case.
That's not it.
That's not where my money comes from, folks. Just in case you're wondering, I'm an internet volunteer most of the time.
Yeah.
And so at this point, like I've thought about maybe as I get older, doing stand up, maybe if I could, if I can make myself do that. I don't know if I have it in me. I just really like, you know, like writing jokes. So maybe try stand up in the future. But like I said, it's nothing I can, when you have as many kids as I do, you know, you don't really have the opportunity to, at least from my standpoint, you can't go into clubs at night and work them and, you know, dedicate
and then
yourself
take
to
care
that.
of kids.
Yeah. I mean, I'm doing math homework. I'm having to relearn 6th or 5th grade math right now.
No.
And let me tell you, when I say that is a whole new level of suffering before 8 p.m. at night, it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm done by 9. I'm like, okay, I'm done with the world. We're going to bed. There's just not room for that. So as my kids get bigger, I may try that as I get bigger. So for right now, I'm just kind of doing what I do, and then as things come along, I just really enjoy. At this point, I really just enjoy entertaining people. I like doing what I do because I like it. And that's what has kept me doing it for so long. I think if I had hated it or tried to do it for money, I would have quit it a long time ago, because you really just can't do it for money. Mm-hmm. Especially these days, because Instagram is not paying you for writing jokes.
Your content.
No.
You showing up.
Yeah, just showing up. I haven't even really figured out how to monetize pretty much anything. At this point, it's more just like, okay, did it do well? Great.
Great. Yay. It's really people love me.
Yeah, it's really just, is it for my own ego? Maybe. Is it because I'm an old, sad woman? Probably. Who likes to feel good about herself? Like, hey. And then everybody at the dinner table is like, that's great, Mom. So.
Yay.
Yay. So, yeah, I know. I don't even know if people really think about me, you know, in my personal life. Like, oh, she's probably, you know, it's like, no. I'm just writing silly things and glad people like them.
Oh, it's so good. And I appreciate your silly things and the ridiculous things, because like I said earlier, like we all just really relate to it and connect to it. And it has been, I mean, it's one of my favorite things, and it's my favorite journey to be on with you, is to see
together.
Let's journey together through Instagram and our lives.
With no monetary success. We're just out here living our lives with no girl
like
boss
trolls.
mentality. I'm just kind of like, we're just existing together and laughing at stupid things. We're just getting through life is basically what we're doing. So,
and it feels like, why I love your page too, is because it feels like having coffee with a friend, where you're just laughing at the ridiculousness of what is this life? Like what gestures vaguely, what is this?
Yeah, that's about it. At this point, I'm like, if I just make somebody or help somebody's day be a little bit better, even if I just made you laugh for like 5 seconds, that's enough for me, because because like I said, I'm full of myself. So if I was able to pull some type of involuntary reaction from you through my
Then
own
I,
power, then fantastic.
yay,
But I really
I
just
did
do
it.
like making people laugh. I have
Yeah.
since I was a tiny kid. So I just really enjoy making people laugh. I love humor. I love jokes. I love comedy. It's my favorite thing, besides my
Yeah.
family.
Besides my family.
Yeah, no, I just love it in general. So I'll keep doing it for as long as people will, or as long as Instagram keeps showing everybody my content.
Yep.
That's pretty few and far between now. So that's tough.
Instagram. I
It's
mean, hey, you made it on I am 30, and I feel like that is like, I don't know. In my eyes, that's huge because they're huge.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always kind of like, wow, guys, thanks. Yeah, it's so nice of them. If it weren't for people like them, I really don't even I don't know if anybody would see anything I do. It's so I'll put things out there now, and Instagram will be like, we showed this to like 50 people, and I'm like, oh great. That's
Awesome.
awesome. So I can't tell now if it's bad. You can't tell if a joke's bad or it didn't do well, or if just no
Yeah.
one saw it and it got thrown into the void, and you're like, well, I'm a terrible writer, or
Right.
you can't.
Oh,
It's very hard to tell these days. So, and
it
I'm not.
is.
I'm not a TikTok. I know everybody's on TikTok. I'm not a TikToker. I tried that for a little bit, but I'm not over there. So I'm like, it's Instagram or bust. Like there's
Yeah, this is where we're going. This is
or
where I'm
threads.
at.
We keep trying to make threads happen. I don't know if that's gonna happen. If it's, I don't know. I'm trying to gauge it. I have no idea.
I
I would.
don't know. I haven't done it yet.
It's. I'm trying to figure it out. Social media is so weird right now. It's hard to say like what's doing great, what's not doing great.
Yeah.
Where should we be? Where should we not be? I don't know. All I know is I'll just be chipping away over in my little corner of the
Yeah.
internet, and I'll be
Well,
there.
I love your little corner of the internet, and I love that you're here, and I love that you make us laugh, and I really appreciate who you are as a human
Well, thank
and the
you.
joy that you bring because it's absolute fire.
I appreciate it. No, and it's
Yeah.
there's so many times. It's nice to hear you say that though, because it's just sometimes it's just people like you saying, "Oh, I still like it. I think it's
Yeah.
funny. I'll read it." To be like, "Okay, I won't quit today and shut everything down."
I'm not gonna burn this to the ground.
I
Fine.
mean, people would be shocked at how many days of the week I wake up. I'm like, I'm shutting this all down. Like, there is no point to any of this. They're like,
Throw
she's
the
so
phone.
happy go lucky. This is so, and a lot of days I'll look at it, I'll be like, I don't, people probably don't even care. Like, I'm just going to shut it down. Like, no, what's the point? And then I'll have a sweet person like you who comes along and they'll say, I like it. And I'm okay. I'll keep
Okay,
going. That
I'll
is
do it.
how little it takes to motivate me. Is somebody being like, I really think my love language might be words of affirmation, because it's the fine line of quitting everything and keeping going. Is, oh, you're doing a good job, like a little pat on the head. I'll be like, okay.
Okay.
I'll keep
All
going.
right. I'm
Okay,
gonna go
I'll keep doing this for free.
for
That's
forever.
because that's who I am. I'm a starving artist. I'm not starving. Well, if you can see me in person, I'm not starving. Literally. Not starving.
Pump the brakes. But I
Yeah,
am.
let's not go overboard here. Okay. My leggings are
Oh,
like, you're not starving, first of all.
first of all,
And
move. Do
artists,
anything.
yeah, artists, that's a little bit of a stretch. Okay. You're just a person on the internet.
Person on the internet.
Yeah.
Well, you person on the internet, when you said yes to being on the podcast, you made my whole day. So I'm super excited that you were here. I am going to link in the show notes. Typically, I just link people's Instagram, but I'm going to link my favorites, direct links to my favorite posts in
Thank
there.
you.
And the week that that this goes live, I'll be sharing all of my favorite ones because I love your corner of the internet. I love what you do, and I love that you make us laugh. And I am just so thankful that you could be here with us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm flattered that you wanted me to come on the show.
Great. Good.
Because I'm like, me? Okay, sure.
All right, cool. Well, I'm
No,
excited to spark
you
your
are
next
lovely.
journey.
You're a lovely person. I enjoyed my talk with you immensely. So
Thank you.
anytime, it's
Thank you.
greatly appreciated.
Thank you. Yay. All right, y'all. Well, we will see you next week for the next part of our series, which is the new narrative. We'll see you later.
Thank you so much, Tamika.
Thank you.